Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast is number 1414. So 1414. The topic is mindset and the title is, Are You Making Mountains? So I thought of this one, and after I kind of created the outline, thought of the title, I realized this is a little bit like a bait and switch. So are you making mountains might sound like, are you creating these lofty big goals and are you climbing mountains in your life? That is not actually what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the phrase, making mountains out of molehills. So if you've never heard of that phrase, making mountains out of molehills, I have no clue where it originated. Kind of would have been fun to look that up. But so I don't know if it's an American thing or who knows. But the idea of it is a molehill is very small. So moles are, prairie animals. I don't know what the classification is. But small little animals that will make little mounds of dirt because they climb in the ground. So a little mound of dirt from a mole is very small. The idea of making mountains out of molehills is a phrase to where if we have something in our life that is a challenge, we kind of overestimate it, we over-exaggerate the challenge of it. So this would be like if I want to take on the goal of eating healthy, if I want to take on the goal of training more regularly, if I want to get an elite total, a pro card, whatever it might be, you want to win a competition or at least compete in a competition, whatever your goals might be, often the obstacles that we believe holding us back aren't as large and, burdensome to try to overcome as we might think they are. So we might view them as mountains when they're actually molehills. So that's kind of the phrasing. So I wanted to share two client stories of a client like kind of making this, like this is what they're experiencing, what I talked to them about, and then encourage you to try to overcome your mountains. So one client, they've been missing their daily targets by about kind of 200 to 300 calories a day. They're falling short. They're under eating by 200 to 300 calories a day, and they're under eating by about 20 to 30 grams of protein a day. And it's pretty consistent, which is a little frustrating. I want to clarify that real quick. I don't get frustrated like at clients. I get frustrated for clients. And the wording to me, what I mean by that is I know the amazing positive effects that they'll get in their life from hitting their targets. So if they eat right, if they train right, they're going to get not only the physical benefits, but they're going to get the emotional and mental benefits, and people really will feel like they're closer to living their dream life. And it is just to know that somebody's only a couple hundred calories away, like 10, 20, 30 grams of protein away. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm just like super bummed for you because you're so close, and it's, they don't see what I can see, on how amazing it'll be once they get this stuff right. So when I say frustrated, I'm saying that I'm frustrated for them because you can see they're so close, and you just want them to take that next step, and you're just really encouraging them. So that's what I feel, is just kind of fired up and I'm like, let's do this, let's go. So they've been missing the marks by that little bit. Now their lunch is great, dinner is great, and they'll even have like craziness in schedule, or they have to pick different choices of foods, and they do a good job of always picking like a good lunch and a good dinner. And it's like, oh man, so I asked them what was up with breakfast. and they said, yeah, breakfast is tough for me most days. Most of my breakfast entries are some bites of whatever left over there is. And I'm like, it's so easy to get breakfast right. It is so easy. So breakfast is made or missed, and it can be made or missed by just simply the choice the night before, by just having stuff prepped and ready to go. Breakfast is so easy to get right. So easy. You can have pre-made foods ready and available, or you can make or cook things that are quick and easy to cook. So what I wrote for them is like quick and easy ideas is like I used to do, and you guys have probably heard me talk about this. It's quick and easy things is you can Well, like for them, you can have a container of nuts. So I buy like a small 3-ounce container of nuts for my wife. She likes almonds. I like cashews. I have 6 veneers, 6 fake teeth. So I like having a softer kind of nut. Almonds are too hard, but cashews are good. So we just have those pre-made, like they're just packaged, ready to go. So we just grab them out of the cupboard in the kitchen and we go. She has pre-made drinks. Core Power is her favorite drink of choice, so we just grab that and go. We have peanut butter packets, like little, I think they're 2 tablespoon servings of peanut butter. They're just like in squeeze out packets, which is quick and easy to do. You can do trail mix, quick and easy to do. You can stop by a fast food place and get like the equivalent of like an egg McMuffin, something that has meat or an egg on it for protein, and then some type of breading, some type of carb. So there's a lot of options that you can just buy and grab. It takes 10 seconds to grab it. Look, not even, it takes 2 seconds to grab it, and then you just eat it on your commute to work. Or if you don't commute, you just eat it while you're opening, the emails for the morning or doing whatever you normally would do. Whatever your kind of morning routine is, you just kind of snack at the food before then. There's also easy to cook options. So I made a post on our Instagram page recently where I have, right now, my breakfast of choice is to cook 8 biscuits. So they're the Pillsbury, like just regular kind of biscuits. They cook for 12 minutes. So basically I prep the oven, get it preheated. I start prepping other meals for myself and my wife. The biscuits only take 12 minutes to cook. I put in microwavable sausages, so they take 60 seconds to microwave. I cut the biscuits in half, put the sausages in. I put butter on it. Now, I'm 280 pounds, so I need a lot of calories. So my breakfast is like 1,200 calories. But it works well. I put all that together. It takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes of actually handling the muffins. The rest of the 12 minutes is just spent in the oven. And it's quick and easy. I also do lunch meat sandwiches like out of bagels. I'll toast bagels. While the bagel's toasting, I grab out lunch meat and slices of cheese. While the bagel's done toasting, which is in like 2 minutes, I put the cheese and the meat in between the bagel, smush it together, and I eat it while I walk out the door. I mean, there are quick and easy things you can do. You just have to have the stuff prepped and ready. And I said you can make that even easy. Grocery shopping doesn't have to be the hard thing in the world. There's Instacart, which I use for grocery shopping. Somebody else does it for you, which is sweet and awesome. Amazon will deliver food. So if you have Amazon available to you, literally anyone on the planet, if you can listen to this podcast, you probably have Amazon available to you. So you do Amazon food deliveries. I mean, it's a matter of choices. You just have to make the choice to have something available and ready. You just have to care enough to set it up. That's it. That's all that is separating this client and what might be separating you from making progress, from living your best life, to seeing the fruits of your effort after it actually come to be. So if you're going to the gym and you're training, 4 or 5 times a week, but you're under eating your calories and protein, you're never going to see what you want to see. You're better off missing a workout to set up the damn Instacart and Amazon food stuff. Miss a workout to set up your food. That's infinitely more valuable. Infinitely. Just one thing away. One thing away. Someone says, I can't seem to get up for breakfast, or I can't seem to get my breakfast right, or blah, 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 blah. It's not that hard. You might not know these options that I've said. You might not realize that there's, possibilities like Instacart or Amazon food deliveries. You might not have ever known that, hell, eating trail mix is better than eating nothing. You know it now, and I hope that in our past podcasts you've heard that calories is the most important thing. It doesn't really matter what you eat until you get your calories and your protein right. Then it matters what you eat. So hopefully with what you hear today, and with a little bit of foot in your butt, you can make that choice, make that step. If you just hit or miss breakfast, if it's one meal a day that's holding you back from being your best self, oh my gosh, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. If you have complications that you think I didn't address here, let me know. Email me at brutalirongym@gmail.com. So, for example, people say, well, I take thyroid medicine. I can't eat within an hour of being awake. And then by the time I've been awake for an hour, I'm already into work, or I'm already doing this, already doing that. I work with people with thyroid medicine all the time. There's ways around it. You can choose to have foods that you can match towards the end of the 60 minutes. You can choose, there's a million ways to set it up. Million. I'm not even going to get into that. But whatever your complication might be, if you think your molehill actually is a mountain, email me, brutalirongym@gmail.com. I will tell you what I know and what has worked for past clients, okay? Another client, they eat sporadically. Some days, they're awesome. They hit the calorie targets, protein targets, the distribution targets. They are low in sugar. I mean, man, they eat great. And then other days, they have one meal. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? What? And their response was, yeah, I know. Eating has always been my issue. I just don't know what to eat. My reply in all capital letters was, yes, you do. And I went on to explain it. But basically, they have some days where they eat great, where all 3 meals of the day are perfect. Or maybe breakfast is great, but the other 2 meals are trash. Or lunch is great and the other meals are messed up. Or dinner is great and the other meals are messed up. They have great days where they actually hit all the numbers. So when they say, I don't know what to eat, the answer is, hell yeah, you do. Look at what the hell you ate on the days that were good. Eat the same damn thing. Now, if they get bored with food, you can keep meals, say 2 of the meals the same, and then fluctuate the other meal, just to have a little bit of variety in your food. But it'll keep you more consistent. So it's interesting to see that somebody would say, I don't know what to eat, but yet on almost half their days, they eat perfectly. And it's like, well, it's probably something else. We might have just kind of become accustomed to saying, or I don't even know what the proper word accustomed to saying, whatever, they're used to saying, I just don't know what to eat. And that's like a default phrase that just kind of blurts out of their mouth. When clearly that's not true. They do know what to eat. They're just not choosing to eat the best choices each day. Why is that? Why don't we make our best choices someday? We might think, I'm too busy today. Well, if it was important enough, you'd still make the right choice. So is it not important enough? Do you not value yourself enough? Do you feel like you can't be consistent enough with it, so why even bother trying? Why is it? Why do we struggle to be more consistent with good choices when we know what those good choices are? And if we really wanted to, we could make those good choices more consistently. I know for one client, they were training super consistent. They would never miss a workout ever, but they were ridiculously off on their food. And I asked them, I said, why? Well, I know why, but we are placing emphasis on training consistency, but we're not consistent with our food. So, do you believe training to be more important than your food? The answer to that for the client was yes. They said training is how I'm going to get myself stronger. Training is how I'm going to lose fat. And I got to answer back and say, actually, no, it's not. Training creates the stimulus to get stronger. Training creates a stimulus to lose body fat. But how you eat impacts the progression of those things. So you need nutrition and a training. If I eat perfectly, but I don't train, I'm not going to really force my body, my body's not going to change anything. I'm not going to just become stronger when I have no training stimulus that produces or demands strength. I'm not going to gain more muscle mass if I don't have training that demands increased muscle mass. So you need both parts. It's not that nutrition is more important. It's just that they're equally important. So if you're prioritizing training but you're not eating, how the hell do you think your body's going to make any of the adaptations that the training demands? Muscle tissue is made of protein. If you're not eating protein, how are you going to repair, maintain, and or grow new muscle tissue? You won't. If you undereat your calories all the time, your body's going to prioritize body fat as extremely important to keep its organs alive. So it's always going to fight to replace any body fat that is burned off. So if you exercise regularly, but you don't eat regularly, consistently, you're going to notice you don't have the muscle mass and definition and shape that you want, and you don't have the leanness that you want. It's not because you're overeating, it's because you're inconsistently eating. for that client, they had to be willing to accept kind of new truths. In their mind, they had believed training to be the most important thing. So they structured their whole life to always ensure that they got their training in. When in reality, the most important thing was balancing nutrition and their training. They needed to give as much importance to nutrition. So we have to be willing to seek out new knowledge, but also be willing to accept new knowledge, new information. This is what we often see with ourselves, and what I often see with clients is we often overestimate the challenge of changing our behaviors. Think about, if somebody leaves dishes in the sink at night. You can just put them in the dishwasher. You can take 3 minutes to wash them and leave them to drip dry. But you can get dishes out of the sink at night. If somebody doesn't want to cook dinner, buy microwavable foods. You can get microwavable chicken sausages, microwavable rice, and you can have a meal in 3 minutes. Or you can stop by the grocery store and pick up, chicken. Like, they'll have whole frickin' chickens, pre-cooked. They're already made. They're just sitting there waiting, hot and ready to go. There are so many things that we make mountains out of molehills. What are you making a mountain out of? Are you making something out to be more than what it really is? Have you waited to address it so long that it feels too big to overcome? Well, the more you wait, the longer you wait, the more and more it grows. We talked about this way back when in podcast 51. It's almost 4 years ago. We talked about it in a podcast. It was a mindset podcast titled Billy and the Dragon. And it was a big, long, fun story about the longer you wait for things, like the longer you wait for challenging things, the bigger and bigger they grow. Well, kill it while it's young. Kill it before it grows. Or if unfortunately you're waiting until it grows old and dies, you will. You're going to grow old and die before it does. Our challenges don't go away. They might change, but challenges don't go away. You got to conquer them. You got to crush them. So this week, I'm going to, and I hope that you will as well, kind of take a new perspective on your mountains. Or are you making them out to be more than what they really are? Maybe there's a small step you can take this week. One action. See how you feel. You'll probably feel confident. Like, and actually kind of happy that you did something. You might have no clue what the hell you're doing. But at least you're moving forward. And you can let your efforts grow from there. You don't have to accomplish and kind of climb the mountain all in one effort. Just take a effort. Or an effort. A-N effort, not U-N effort. Just take an effort. Make an effort. You'll feel better. The mountain likely won't look so tall. And you'll feel more in control of creating the life that you want. You can do this. So give it a try. I hope you will. Think of what your mountains are. And then think, okay, what's one step I could take? Not to try to climb the mountain, but just to take 1 foot up it. Just want to take one step on that mountain and just see what it's like. I want to get a different perspective. I'm going to take one effort to get a little bit of a different perspective to see how big that mountain really is. Okay? If you need any help, I'm always available. Our email is brutalirongym@gmail.com. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you get encouraged by this. I hope you try something. And I promise it'll definitely lead towards more happiness in your life. Even if we have no clue what the hell we're doing, we always feel better when we're doing. Right? Cool. Okay, well, if you like today's podcast or the podcast in general, please consider sharing the podcast. The more people we share the podcast with, the more people can help. The whole idea of the podcast is just to help people live their healthiest and happiest life. So anybody you share this with, I appreciate it, and I'm sure they will as well. Thank you to the patrons of the podcast, people who financially support the podcast. The podcast is well over $1,000 a year for hosting costs to give an hour to it every day. We'd like to keep it for free. So thank you to those who give donations to the podcast. I really appreciate it. We all appreciate it. So we can keep this thing going. You can give a donation at our website, www.brutalirongym.com. There's an option there for a one-time donation, monthly donation, yearly donation. Anything you can give is greatly appreciated. Even just $5 goes a long way. Thank you. Also, if you like the information we share in our podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. If you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, anything you want to know, let us know at our email at brutalirongym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.